Hi, Professor Agudelo. It's me, Emma. I'm joined here today by my roommate and my friend. And today, we're going to be delving into my presentation. Do you know what all these things have in common? Cigarettes, vapes, eggplants, cigars, Zyn pouches? Well, I'll tell you. They all contain a chemical called nicotine. Nicotine is naturally found in plants, primarily in the nightshade family, which includes tobacco, tomatoes, potatoes, and eggplants, and it acts as a defense mechanism, protecting the plant from insects. But in humans, it has an attractive and an addictive effect. Nicotine is a chemical that continues to shape both our biology and our culture. Journey with me to fully understand its effects. Before we delve into the chemical part of nicotine, why do humans have such bad nicotine addictions? What is nicotine? The ancient Mayans first burned tobacco leaves as part of their religious rituals. Later, Native Americans, shamans used tobacco for medicinal purposes. When Europeans arrived in the Americas, they quickly realized nicotine's stimulating effects, and soon tobacco became a global commodity. In doing all this research on this chemical, I realized that all roads lead back to nicotine. Pocahontas? Oh, you mean the story of how her husband began to cultivate tobacco leaves in the Jamestown colony? America as a country was literally built on tobacco. Tobacco even goes as far as to be one of the main fuels for the slave trade. Cigarettes and tobacco have always been used back as currency, dating back to its discovery, and all the way till today in the more modern form of nicotines and Zyn sharing. But why? It's nicotine's chemical structure. Let's break it down. The chemical formula for nicotine is C10H14N2. It is a colorless, brownish alkaloid liquid that contains two nitrogen rings, pyridine and pyrrolidine.
It's pyrrolidine. I'm going to say it wrong like 400 times, but it's pyrrolidine.
Nicotine structure is unique because of the two nitrogen atoms in the pyridine and the pyrrolidine rings allow it to directly interact with the brain and the nervous system, and these nitrogen rings allow it to bind to the nicotine acetylcholine receptors, which are the proteins on the surface of neurons. Understanding nicotine's structure and its effects on the body can help scientists develop better treatments for addiction and design products that might actually be able to reduce nicotine's addictive properties. Pop quiz. Imagine you're a neuron receptor. Which of these is acetylcholine? A or B? They look pretty similar to me. When you inhale nicotine, whether from a cigarette, a vape, a cigar, it travels rapidly through your bloodstream and reaches your brain within seconds. Nicotine doesn't just float around in the brain, it specifically targets these receptors. The key players here are these nicotinic acetylcholine receptors. These receptors are located all over your brain, but especially concentrated in areas that focus on reward, memory, and attention. Normally, acetylcholine is a neurotransmitter in your brain. When it binds to these receptors, it's part of your normal brain functioning, like muscle control, learning, attention. But when nicotine enters the picture, it acts as a mimic for acetylcholine. When nicotine binds to the receptors, it causes these neurons to depolarize, meaning it becomes more electrically charged. This triggers an influx of ions and a cascade of signals that release the neurotransmitter dopamine, your brain's feel-good chemical. Dopamine is responsible for the pleasure you feel when you use nicotine. It creates a reward system that reinforces that behavior and makes you crave nicotine more and more each time. It's like you're Pavloving yourself. But nicotine doesn't just affect dopamine. It also impacts other neurotransmitters like norepinephrine, which plays a role in arousal, alertness, and it triggers serotonin, which is involved in mood regulation. In addition to these effects on the brain, nicotine also triggers the sympathetic nervous system, which is responsible for your fight or flight response. This causes the release of adrenaline, the hormone that increases your heart rate, your blood pressure, and your respiration. That's why you feel such a rush of energy when you inhale it. Nicotine's dual action on the brain with the peripheral nervous system makes it particularly powerful. It stimulates you both mentally and physically, contributing to its addictive properties. So why is quitting nicotine so hard? Nicotine's ability to flood the brain over time makes it highly addictive. Over time, your brain becomes reliant on external sources of dopamine, leading it to cravings when the nicotine is absent. Nicotine literally changes your brain chemistry, making it harder for you to stop using it, and the more you use nicotine, the more it adjusts to your body, and the more and more you need to get the same effect. Over time, with regular nicotine use, the brain starts relying on nicotine to maintain these high levels of dopamine and other neurotransmitters. That's why when someone tries to quit, they experience literal withdrawal. They experience irritability, anxiety, intense craving, because the brain's reward system is no longer getting what it wants. Now, if you're sitting here with your hand in a bag of potato chips, cursing nicotine for your dang addiction to food, don't worry. The small amount of nicotine in potatoes and other veggies are not fueling your addiction. After all, the dose makes the poison. Woo! And so you know I'm not making all this up? Sources. Boom, 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 boom. Thank you for coming to my tip.